API authentication is a combination of technology and process that verifies the identities of users who want access to an API, also known as an application programming interface. API authentication solutions are usually set up to block access to an API if they detect something wrong with the user's identity during the API call. Its online ID verification is a gatekeeping countermeasure that defends APIs from access by malicious actors. API authentication is critical for API security and, more broadly, the entire enterprise security posture. This is because APIs provide access to software functionality and represent points of access to data, which can be valuable or highly sensitive. Without API authentication, risks include but aren't limited to data breach, corruption or deletion of data, and denial of service attacks. If done right, API authentication reduces the likelihood of such attacks and can mitigate their impact should an attack occur. But how does authentication work? API authentication works through the presentation of a credential and/or supporting data points, followed by its acceptance or rejection. The credential can be an API key, a username and password pair, or a digital token. An API key is a unique numeric identification code that authenticates an API user. It's the basic element of API authentication. In particular, a known API user will have an established API key. When requesting access to the API, the user will submit the key to the API security solution. The API security solution will, in turn, either grant or deny access to the API based on the validation of the API key. Keep in mind that authentication is an ongoing process that must be maintained, which is where Noname Security can help. Noname's API security platform can help you protect your APIs with authentication issues. We test APIs early and often throughout the SDLC, so authentication issues are discovered and remediated before they can be exploited. For APIs in production, we provide runtime protection to monitor and analyze all API traffic. Our platform can pinpoint when an attacker is trying credential stuffing or password spraying against an API. We can also alert you if there are surges of authentication failures, a typical outcome of probes for weak user authentication. If an attack has been identified, Noname offers a flexible range of ancient response options. Our platform can de-authenticate a client's access token at the API gateway. APIs without proper authentication are automatically cited as vulnerable.